Hello, everyone. Welcome to chapter 13. This is the same class. I just stopped recording and started a new one. We're in chapter 13 here of Lessons in Tanya, still part 1. So if you have the physical book, it's in the very beginning section, but chapter 13 of that section, Likutei Amarim, part 1 sometimes it's called, Likutei Amarim sometimes it's called. Of Lessons in Tanya, which is commentary of the Tanya, has the Tanya included, and then has commentary, running commentary. So chapter 13. Elucidated by Rabbi Yosef Weinberg. I'm pretty sure he's the one who does the Lessons in Tanya, which is in the gray here. Perik Yud Gimel. In the previous chapter, the Alter Rebbe describes the spiritual profile of the Benoni. In the Benoni's heart, said the Alter Rebbe, evil desires may often arise. They rise up to the mind. But his divine soul constantly prevents such desires from finding expression in actual thought, speech, or action. On the contrary, these three soul garments are the exclusive domain of the animal soul and are utilized by the Benoni only for thought, speech, and action of Torah study and the fulfillment of the mitzvot.
James?
Yep.
In the book it has listed as divine soul.
Oh,
Would
Nefesh
that be the same
Elokis.
thing as animal soul, or did we just?
Nope.
On the second line.
Yeah. The divine soul is going to be the Nefesh Elokis. On the contrary, these three soul garments are the exclusive domain of the divine soul, the Nefesh Elokis, and are utilized by the Benoni only for thought, speech, and action of Torah study and the fulfillment of them, right? We're talking about the Nefesh Elokis. Divine souls translated as Nefesh Elokis in the Tanya. Are you saying this might be the soul's garments are the domain of the Nefesh Behemoth, maybe?
I was reading along and it says divine soul, and you said animal soul. So I just wanted to make sure that.
Oh, I goofed up then. Thank you for correcting me. Yes. Yep. I goofed up. But his divine soul constantly prevents such desires from finding expression. Okay, yeah, the animal soul is trying to express itself in actual thought, speech, or action. But on the contrary, these three soul garments are the exclusive domain of the divine soul, the Nefesh Elokis, and are utilized by the Benoni only for thought, speech, and action of Torah study and the fulfillment of the mitzvot. Accordingly, we may understand the comment of our sages that Benonim are judged by both their good and evil inclinations. Both judge him and dictate his conduct. As scriptural support for this contention, the Talmud cites, as it is written, he, the Almighty, stands at the right hand of the poor man to save him from them that judge his soul. The plural, them that judge, indicates the presence of two judges within the person, the evil inclination and the good. We thus find that the Benoni's inclinations are described as his judges. Now, where the term Benoni to be understood in its simple, literal sense of one who has an equal history of good deeds and bad, it should more properly be said that the Benoni is ruled by both inclinations. For one to sin, his evil inclination must rule him. For him to do good, his good inclination must rule. The Benoni, who supposedly does both, must be ruled and not merely judged by both. However, according to the explanation of the term Benoni given in the previous chapter, it is clear that indeed the Benoni is merely judged by both inclinations, not ruled by both, as shall be explained presently. Note that our sages did not say he is ruled by both the good and inclination and the evil. God forbid, because where the evil nature gains any rule and dominion, albeit momentarily, over the small city, i.e., whenever the evil rules one's body, like into a city which both the good inclination and the evil seek to conquer, one is deemed wicked, Russia, at such times. Rather, the evil inclination in the Benoni is no more than, for example, a magistrate or judge who expresses his opinion on a point of law. Excuse me. Yet, in fact, his decision is not necessarily final. For there is another magistrate or judge who disagrees with him. It then becomes necessary, in order to formulate a binding decision, to arbitrate between the two, and then the final verdict will rest with the arbitrator. Similarly, in the battle between the evil inclination and the good, the evil inclination states its opinion in the left part of the Benoni's heart, i.e., it creates an evil desire in his heart and demands that he act accordingly, thus rendering judgment as to his future conduct. From the heart, the desire ascends to the mind for contemplation. This is a big deal. From the heart rises to what's the Hebrew here? From the heart rises to the mind to ponder. Lahar, hair. Why is that interesting to me? Because it sounds a lot like what's the Hebrew word to ruminate? Isn't it like harar or okay, so why am I thinking about this? Kosher animals, I think this is the verb. Maybe I'm not. It's close. I think there's a verb that's close to this, but it's what ruminants do. Kosher animals, they ruminate and is it gerar maybe? Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Anyways, I don't know. I'm finding the similarity for some reason in that word. But it's when you chew your cud.
It's the idea, yeah, it's the idea of elevating your food, because they elevate their food, their kosher to be eaten, because you're elevating your food.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna see if I can. I don't want to take too much time. I'll look at that another time. But yeah, right. And I wonder if that's what it is. I forget though. Harar or Gerar. Harar. I'll have to Google dictionary that. Oh well. I thought there was a gimel in the word I'm thinking of, but I'm not sure. Immediately upon its ascent to the brain, it is challenged by the second judge, the divine soul residing in the brain, which extends to the right part of the heart, where the good inclination abides. Wow, this is very cool. So we're getting into the mechanics of it, right? So the evil inclination states its opinion on the left part of the heart. It goes up to the brain. It goes up to the mind to be pondered on. And then immediately upon its ascent to the brain, it is challenged by the second judge, the divine soul residing in the brain, which also extends to the right part of the heart, where the good inclination abides. The good inclination is actually the voice of the divine soul's emotional attributes and is hence active in the right part of the heart. See chapter 9. The good inclination thus battles the evil, ensuring that the latter's passion not be realized. For the opinion of the good inclination is that all the body's faculties and organs be utilized only for matters of holiness. The final verdict rests with the arbitrator, the Holy One, blessed be he, who comes to the aid of the good inclination. Wow. Oh, that's what he talked about earlier. He comes like to the right hand of the, okay, something like that. Enabling it to prevail over the evil inclination. The Holy One, blessed be he, who comes to the aid of the good inclination. How cool is that? As our sages say, man's evil inclination gathers strength daily, and if the Almighty did not help him, i.e., help his good inclination, he could not overcome it, his evil inclination. The help that God grants him is the glow of the divine. Oh my goodness. The help that God grants him is the glow of the divine light that illuminates his divine soul.
It's no good, isn't it?
Yes, isn't it? It's things that come from Noga. This, Torah,
That's good right
Torah,
there.
oh my goodness, Torah is so amazing. So throughout Torah, you have this not oscillate this return. It's this these returning concepts that are just spoken of in different things. So what is this? This is Yisrael, and this is non-Jews, Hasidim Olam, that help Yisrael. This is Avraham, and this is Eliezer. This is the state of Yisrael, and this is the United States giving Yisrael 500 billion to help defend itself against terrorism, whatever. But you see this pattern, right? You see this pattern, and this is the pattern. You have the Noga, you have things that are coming from Noga, you have animals. What happens when you shecht an animal, and that animal helps sustain your life to do godliness with it, hopefully. When I slaughter an animal, a lot of people say, well, you need to say a blessing, you need to say a bracha or whatever. That's great. But the second thing you got to do is you have to make sure that the energy that you use from that animal is going back to do good things. The help that God grants him is the glow of the divine light that illuminates his divine soul. So this is the Yisrael and the Ger. This is the electricity, and this is the filament that the electricity runs through. And this is the dynamic that is within multiple things. This is the interaction between the Yisrael and his animal soul internally. This is the interaction between Yisrael as a person and the non-Yisrael who is learning Torah. These concepts, they're multi-layered, they're multifaceted, they're multidimensional. That it may gain superiority and master over the folly of the fool, the evil inclination, a dominion paralleling the superiority of light over darkness, as stated above in chapter 12. Just as a little light banishes much darkness, so is the abounding folly and darkness of one's evil inclination driven away by dint of the light of holiness emanating from his divine soul. It is this ray of divine illumination that constitutes God's assistance to the divine soul. Okay. I think we need to, Teresa, do you think we should read this footnote?
Yes.
I think so, yeah. It was stated in the previous chapter that man's mind innately rules his heart. Why then should he need special divine assistance in curbing his appetites? The Rebbe answers, this divine assistance is necessary whenever the conflict between the two souls does not involve a struggle of mind versus heart. Example 1, when the divine soul wishes to prevent sinful thoughts from arising in the mind. 2, when the emotive faculties of the divine soul seek to overpower those of the animal soul without recourse to contemplation and meditation. But now the question must be reversed. Why in chapter 12 does the Alter Rebbe use the argument of the mind's natural supremacy over the heart to point out the divine soul's supremacy over the animal soul? To this, the Rebbe answers, in chapter 12, the Alter Rebbe speaks of the state of the Benoni after prayer, when the effect of his meditation on godliness during prayer still lingers in his mind. And I think anybody who has a good prayer has that happen, so you can tell this is truth. At such time, his mind is suffused with godliness to the point where the animal soul cannot so much as voice an opinion there. Thus, any struggle between the souls at that time would be a case of mind versus heart, where the natural supremacy of the mind could confer victory on the divine soul. That's how powerful prayer is.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I don't probably do enough of it. So that's why prayer is so important.
James, doesn't it seem like that message is so strong and poignant for us right now, especially for the month of Elul and going up to Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur?
Excellent. Very good. So Mercy's talking about the month of Elul, which is right before Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah, and the high holidays, so to speak. And you can feel the switch.
Yeah, I felt it this morning. I was already on my face this morning.
Yeah, you can
I mean,
feel
I
it.
was laying down on the floor this morning, and when I got up and looked at my menorah and said the Shviti, then all of a sudden I started reading about the Ketoret again. And one of the resources was saying when you think of the Ketoret or pray the Ketoret, walk away with great joy. Great joy. Don't just look at it as something mystical, but look at it with great joy.
Yeah, it's the in the beginning of prayer after. So you say a Modeh and you get yourself together, and if you're a Yisrael, you do certain things like put on tzitzit or whatever. Before prayer, though, is the blessings over not I don't know if over is the right word, but the Ketoret blessing that teaches you about them. So that's pretty cool. That must be why it's in there. Yeah, very cool. Okay, got that footnote. Oh, excuse me. The Alter Rebbe now goes on to resolve the contradiction and answers the question noted in the opening words of the Tanya. The Talmud states that a Jew is charged with an oath to regard himself as wicked, whereas elsewhere in the Mishnah declares, "Be not wicked in your own estimation." Also, so that's from Avot, which is Pirkei Avot, I would think. chapters of the Fathers, Ethics of the Fathers, written in English. I don't know. Also, if a person considers himself wicked, he will be grieved at heart and depressed, and will not be able to serve God joyfully and with a contented heart. He now explains that the meaning of the oath, which literally reads, "Be in your own eyes like a Rasha," is that one regards himself not as an actual Rasha, but as like one, having traits similar to those of a Rasha. This means that he must consider himself a Benoni who possesses the same evil in his soul as does a Rasha, and can desire evil just as a Rasha does. So yeah, because I'm still not 100% clear on the difference between a Benoni and the Rasha, the two different times of Rashaim, the different types of the evil ones. The Benoni still has an evil inclination that resides in his heart, but the Russians let it dominate. I think that's kind of basically what it is. Yet, in as much as the evil in the left part of the heart, yet, in as much as the evil in the left part of the Benoni's heart is in its native strength, craving after all the pleasures of the world. Yeah. Yeah, the pleasures of this world. Okay. So the pleasures of this concealment. So you think it's concealed. Yeah, man, isn't that so crazy? It's like Adam. Remember, like Adam, he's like, he tried to hide from Hashem, he tried to conceal. And this is what it reminds me of. Like Adam tries to hide. Okay, I'm gonna get away with this, blah blah blah. Nobody can see me, right? People like put that in their heads. Well, pleasures of this world, this concealment. And is neither so minute as to be nullified before the good of the divine soul, as is the case with a tzaddik. So nor has it been displaced from its position to any degree. So the tzaddik is the one who nullifies or displaces it somehow, I think, but merely lacks authority and power to become diffused throughout the limbs of the body to cause them to do, speak, or think evil. Nor is the evil's lack of ability attributable to the Benoni's efforts, for his evil, like that of the Rasha, retains its native strength to pervade the entire body. Rather, the evil is powerless merely because of the Holy One, blessed be he, who stands at the right hand of the poor man, helping him and irradiating his divine soul so that it may be able to prevail over the good. Thus, it is only I'm sorry?
Prevail over the evil.
Oh, what did I say? Did I goof up again? Oh my goodness. What is going on with me? Well, thank you for correcting me.
She's on it.
She is. Oh my goodness.
I'm sorry.
No, don't apologize. Correct me if I'm wrong. Please correct me. I don't want to say something wrong. Let's see here. Helping him and irradiating his divine soul so that it may be able to prevail over the evil. Okay. Thus, it is only divine intervention that prevents the evil from pervading the body. Essentially, however, the evil of the Benoni's animal soul is so strong as it was at birth. Therefore, the Benoni is described as being Rasha, like a Rasha, but not actually a Rasha, as in the statement of our sages. Even if the whole world tells you that you're a tzaddik, be in your own eyes like a Rasha. He should not regard himself as an actual Rasha, for the Mishnah admonishes, be not wicked in your own estimation. Moreover, regarding oneself as a Rasha hinders one from serving God joyfully. Rather, one should consider oneself a Benoni and should not believe. This is a big statement. I don't want to. Rather, one should consider oneself a Benoni.
And that whole paragraph before that is kind of, in my mind, a little confusing.
Yeah, right. Because he just got done saying, yeah, what does it mean like a Russia? I wonder if it means you need to do the things of you need to keep your guard up, so to speak. I don't know. Maybe it's something like that. The problem with that is though, not to get too much into psychology, but if you're explicitly putting up your guard or you're explicitly putting something in your mind, it's connected with that thing that you are trying to not put in your mind. So I don't know. Or maybe I don't know. Anyways, maybe that's a silly thought. I don't know. Rather, one should consider oneself a Benoni and should not believe, i.e., accept the world's opinion, which would have him believe that the evil in him has been nullified by the good. For this is the level of the tzaddik. Only the tzaddik succeeds in nullifying and transforming the evil within him. But the world, which judges the Benoni by his actions and sees that he never transgresses, assumes that he too has effectively banished from within him the evil that is the cause of sin. Consequently, people regard him as a tzaddik. He is therefore cautioned against accepting the opinion of the world. Oh, okay. So they just objectively see you. They don't see your mind and things like that. In other words.
They're just
So,
seeing your actions, maybe?
yeah, they just see your garments.
Mhm.
Maybe not even your thought garment. They just know your speech and deed. They don't see your other garments like your thought. Maybe that's what it's talking like. Instead he should take the view that the essence and core of the evil is in its full native strength and might in the left part of his heart, not having vanished or departed from it at all. Yeah, okay. So yeah, like keep on guard, maybe. On the contrary, with the passage of time, the evil has gained strength because he utilized it, i.e., the animal soul, considerably in eating and drinking and in other mundane pursuits. So he strengthened it, he got used to it or accustomed to it. As with every faculty, constant use of the animal soul causes it to become even stronger than it was at birth. The Alter Rebbe thus concludes that the words "consider yourself like a Rasha" means that one must consider himself a Benoni. The above applies even to those who have reached a lofty spiritual level. They too should consider themselves Benonim. For should one consider himself a tzaddik and maintain that the evil within him has already been nullified by the good, he will cease to do battle with the evil. Yeah, okay. If he is mistaken and is not in fact a tzaddik, so you got to always keep guards at the gate of this small city, basically, I think is what it's saying. Such an unfounded attitude can cause him to slip drastically from this evil, descending even lower than the level of a Benoni to that of a Russia. So it's like a small city who, the guards are sleeping or whatever. Hey, just go ahead and lift the gates. Nothing, there's no bad out there, right? It's like we thought we defeated communism. Or we defeated Russia, Okay, no more communism. Still lurking. Until now, we have been speaking of a working man who does not have the opportunity to spend all his time in Torah study and divine service. Now the discussion turns to the individual who spends all his time immersed in the study of Torah. We'll stop there. I think is probably a good place to stop. And we can pick up next week, God willing. So we recorded 2 times today.
You know, James, when you were talking about the whole concept of thinking about things you don't want to really dwell on, isn't that kind of like called like OCD or obsessive compulsive
Yeah, like
thinking? Yeah. Yeah.
maybe, yeah, like I don't know, like
It's like, why
I
am I even entertaining that? Yeah.
right. Yeah, like it's through association. So it's one of the reasons why I think that Mashiach ben Yosef, the Messiah son of Joseph, and like Esav was an aspect of that as well. But why he goes through so hard times is because he is shy. So when Esav was in his mother's belly, he was in there with Yaakov. And when she would go by a house of prayer, Yaakov would leap. And when she went by a house of idolatry, Esav would leap. Now, some people or like commentaries say that that was because he was evil or whatever, or it's kind of naturally assumed. But look at it from another perspective. Maybe he was leaping because he was shy to it to destroy it. He was connected to it. In other words, he wanted to destroy it. And so the problem with that, the one problem I should say, is that when you are going to do, let's say you are 100%, your job 100% of the time is to destroy idolatry. You are going to be in the most heinous places, and I'm not talking about like the kind so much that we see now, which is like idolatry light or whatever, but I'm talking about like Molech worship or whatever, and they're like
Right, right, right.
sacrificing, doing whatever, and really grotesque stuff. If you're in that 100% day in and day out, and you got to go through that all the time, that it said that Esav fell. So that he was an aspect of Mashiach ben Yosef, and he fell, and he started to succumb to that. Well, he's completely shy to it. Yaakov, on the other hand, it says he dwelt in tents. He completely removed himself from those situations. So the problem with wanting to be an iconoclast all the time is that you're constantly battling with and destroying, and you can succumb to that. And so that's kind of like my point. Like, so how would you, like, just from personal experience, you don't think about it. You don't. Well, I don't. What you do is you create fences for
Right.
yourself.
Right. I was thinking about Yonah. He must have had to do that,
Well,
create fences.
tell me,
You
what do
know,
you?
Yonah in Nineveh, he must have had to create fences around himself.
Mhm.
And his mind, especially his mind, because everything goes in the eye gate and through your ear gate. And then if you have your senses, your nose, I mean, if there's blood, all around you, I mean, good grief. I just can't imagine that. And how he was able to walk away from all of that, and not be affected. He had to have been affected.
Right.
You know what I mean? So yeah, it makes sense how somebody, if they're not careful, that they would keep falling. I mean, they would fall
Yeah.
greatly
And
from like this Benoni to the Russia.
right. And so, like, you don't want to. Yeah. So it's like you want to be on guard, but how do you be on guard and not be shy to it?
Right.
You don't want to be connected to it. So I think what you do is you put up fences and you remove yourself from that situation. So the fences keep you on guard. And so, in other words, like, instead of keeping an idol in your house to constantly remind you that you want to shatter idols, let's say, I'm using that like an extreme example.
Mhm.
Oh, I got to shatter an idol today. it helps keep me on my toes. Helps remind me that I gotta shatter idols. Well, there's also the point is you're actually fixated on it though, and it's actually in your house,
Right.
and you
You
don't.
just wait for the time when you shatter it.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, exactly. So it's like you don't want to fixate it on. You don't want to fixate on
Right.
it.
Right.
There's like the vanity of the bonfire type situation where okay, there's music you don't think you should be listening to. Wow, I just need to get rid of this. This is just like I'm eating this food like spiritually, mentally, whatever. I just need to get rid of this music. And so instead of like listening it or keeping it in my mind that hey, I don't want to listen to it, well, that just might entice me to actually listen to it. So I just need to maybe get rid of it or whatever. I don't know. But this is an interesting topic. I think this is something that everybody can.
Right. And that's good that you say that too about music, because sometimes I'll be like, well, why is that song stuck in my head now? And then
Yeah, I do the
for
same
me,
thing.
it's like, okay, I have to just go play the song so it can get out of my head and I can move on with the rest of my day.
Right. And Mercy, you could probably relate, but like me growing up, I listened to music almost like it was like gospel or something.
Yep.
Like what are
Yep.
these people talking about? And it was like it was eye-opening in a spiritual sense for me or something, and bad sometimes.
Right.
Sometimes
Right.
though, it actually did help. Like so constantly like looking at things a little bit differently, but
Mhm.
uh yeah, I forget where I was going with that, but yeah, kind of like that. It's like, well, how much of this song do I really want to
Right.
keep in my head? Oh, here's something funny. We're still recording, so I hope I'm not digressing too much, but there's something called power ballads or like rock ballads, and like in the 80s, like late 80s, maybe it was in the early 90s, but they had these rock ballads. Like I listened to a couple of them on the way to work today. I was like, these are so corny. And the thing is, but the thing is, they're very spiritually powerful. Like they're, like they got what it needs to make a good hit.
Right.
But when you listen to like some of the lyrics,
The lyrics.
they're
Yeah.
not good, and they could be passed off if somebody does not study Torah and wasn't in touch with reality, and I was one of those people basically. But you take that as gospel, like, oh, that's what they do out in California or whatever.
Right.
I'm exaggerating myself a bit, but if you don't have a grasp on reality, if I'm an adolescent and I don't have a grasp on reality, and you hear a very spiritual rock song. When I mean spiritual, I'm talking about most one hit, what do they
One
called
hit
when they go?
wonders.
Yeah, well, yeah, they go to the top of the charts and stuff.
Right.
Like like there's a beat. They psychologically are manipulative,
Right.
and it's hard to overcome that animal soul's attraction to the way the beats are played, the way they tone the voice, and all these psychological things that entice the animal soul in various psychological subconscious ways, maybe. But the message that they're saying is not good messaging.
That's
And
right.
how do you overcome that with actual good messaging, actual like
Yeah. At
message?
some point, you just have to turn it off.
Yeah.
You have to turn it off. But like I said, there's the one song that I heard the other day. I went and I thought, why is that song in my head? And I thought, I'm gonna look at the lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
And then I looked at the lyrics and I go, actually, those are very nice. Those are gentle. Those are loving things. And then I
Yeah.
go, wait a minute, I'm gonna listen to the song again. And so then
Yeah.
I listened to it and then I
Yeah.
thought, Hashem, that's exactly what you would be saying to your
Yeah.
bride.
That's funny. Yeah, it's true. And then you start to think like, wow, they put these these really decent lyrics to a
Yeah.
song just to get the song to sell. Like
Right, exactly.
and the lyrics might, or the opposite's true. Maybe it sounds really cool, but when you listen to the lyrics, you're like, this is headed for a really bad time.
Yeah.
Like you don't.
But
So
you know,
yeah,
for me, when I hear something really good, I often think, I wonder what David's music sounded like. I wonder
right.
what that harp sounded.
I
My mind goes to places like that.
yeah, I think it was both. I think he had perfect lyrics with perfect music.
Yeah. I
Because
bet it sounded really good too.
yeah, it had to have been amazing. Because like you said, a lot of songs have like not good lyrics and
Mhm.
good sounding beats or whatever you want to call it. And then the opposite might be true. Maybe they have decent lyrics or pretty truthful lyrics, whatever that you can relate to, but then the music's just like,
Then the music's raunchy. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Like it's the way the guy's singing, it's like, yeah, whatever. But anyways, so
I guess for me now, understanding this tonight,
yeah,
it was really good to understand how this spiral can take place. And
right.
then what Teresa and the ladies have been learning, we've been learning how to get out of that cycle, how to come out of
Well,
that
so how
spiral.
do you get there? Is it through prayer? Do you ladies do some kind of prayer thing?
Well, Teresa, wasn't it I think it was just giving us a clear understanding of
Yeah.
how we digress and
Mhm.
then how to seek Hashem really to
Mhm.
come out of it, really to understand what um the regression is
Mhm.
and to catch ourselves on the front side of it quickly before it spirals
Right.
and to repent. Teshuvah is key. Teshuvah,
Hmm.
that's key. Right away, seeing it, acknowledging it, and taking care of matters immediately.
Immediately. That's what the altar Rebbe said here, didn't he?
Hmm.
Like
Mhm.
when it arises in your mind, you cut it off,
That's
right?
right. That's right.
Very
And
interesting.
that's where at the point of chet, the first level, chet.
Oh.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So
You're talking about Chokmah, right?
what's that?
Are you talking about like Chokmah being a dot?
Well, we're talking about the letter het.
The
Hmm.
letter
The
het,
actual
but it's
letter.
the
So
letter
there's
het
the wisdom
is
of the letter het.
yeah the
Because it's
it's
associated with Hesed, and it's the pathway between Hesed and Tiferet.
Yeah.
the ferret. That's
Oh,
right.
interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Because it seems like this is all related to Chesed a lot. Very
Yeah,
interesting. The
Mhm.
heart.
yeah.
I've noticed, and I don't pray like I should. I don't pray enough, and this is very powerful for me. This chapter and the last chapter, because when I do pray, I do feel exactly what the Alter Rebbe's talking about, and I don't pray enough.
Mm.
And um, yeah, this is really oh, what's the word I'm looking for? But it's encouraging me to do it, for lack of a better word.
Mhm.
And then on top of that, well, what else was I going to say? Um, oh, it just left my mind. But prayer, praying through the siddur. So some people say you shouldn't pray with a Jewish siddur. I would disagree, and my when I lived in Chicago, I would pray out of a siddur. Nobody had a problem with it. But I've done both, and I would recommend praying through the a siddur, particularly the Chabad siddur called Tihulat Hashem. But why? Because it offers a kosher form, so to speak, an actual form that you can follow, and you
Mhm.
can yeah. Don't get me wrong. Anybody can pray the way they want as long as it's like not an idolatrous prayer or whatever. But um, if you don't know what to pray, is what I'm saying and getting at, I guess, then
Yeah.
you should pick up a siddur and order SIDDUR and pray from that, and it will help kind of guide you if you don't know what to pray about.
That's
And
right. That's
But
right.
one thing I think that needs to be uh formed or by somebody in authority is to teach people how to read the siddur.
oh, right.
Because it has I hear that all the time, is is I've got this, but I don't know how to use it because of the grade. You know, you on certain days you say this, but then on certain days you add this. How do I add this one? You know, and it jumps from here to there to there.
Right.
And so that would be good if we could find a Jewish woman or someone that could just explain how to read the siddur.
Yeah.
You know what,
Teresa, that is what Yoel is doing with Tracy.
You know, Teresa, you just brought up a really good point. They should have a siddur that's just for weekday, and then an additional siddur for high holidays or
They do.
specific.
They do.
Yeah.
They do.
Oh, they're separated?
Yeah. So they're,
but it's still. Oh, I'm sorry, James.
oh, well, just real quick, and I'll, this is called Moxorim. So you want your siddur for just Yom Kippur? I highly recommend, particularly everybody here. I know everybody here. I would recommend you all read the Yom Kippur Moxor. It's called a Moxor, which is like, it is literally the prayer book for Yom Kippur.
I might have one now that you say that.
Yeah. I read it every Yom Kippur.
Rosh Hashanah.
Yeah, Rosh Hashanah. You read it from cover to cover, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying you got to, but what I'm saying is on Yom Kippur, you can read that cover to cover, and you're basically reading just the way Yisrael's reading throughout the day, which is an amazing experience.
Wow.
But Machzor, Moxor.
Moxor. Okay. Okay, very good.
Dixie.
Thank you.
Dixie, who were you saying? Yael is helping.
Stacy is going through the siddur with Yoel.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's doing it after Mike's class with Yoel. Then Stacy has a session with Yoel on the siddur.
That's wonderful.
That's good. Yeah.
Hashem.
So I'm sure if you guys know somebody that needs to set up some time, maybe that's something you would think about. If anybody wants, I'm not, and I don't know that you all could even have more time. I should just shut my mouth.
But it's good. Well, Stacy was one of them that I was thinking of too. So it's good. That's good that she's with Yael.
Hallelujah.
Very good. Well, this was an excellent class. Thank you all for joining. We got 2 sessions in.
Thank you, James.
Thank
good.
you all. Thank you so
Very,
much. Thank
very
you
good.
for your input as well. I really appreciate it, and definitely makes it feel more like friends, talking, swapping stories, almost like it's in person rather than just me rambling or whatever. So, well, I appreciate it, everyone, and see you all, God willing, next week. So thank you all. Be well. Shavua Tov.
Shavua Tov.
Have a show.
Thank you.
Thank you.